My name is Jimi Elderman. I'm a board of director with the CDCA. I work with Spry Methods, a small business in the area. I'm the operations director here in town, so I handle all the operations, PM type things, financial, business development, whatever is needed. My story of how I got into CDCA is probably a little more unique than a lot of the folks. About 10 years ago, I applied to be an intern with a company called EMA. Through the CDCA internship program, I was awarded one of the internships. I worked for a summer with past president Mark Adamski and our current president Josh Hatter, and had a really cool experience learning about DoD. I'm not former DoD. My parents and folks weren't in DoD, so I really had no idea what this industry was about. I just knew there was a cool opportunity, and hey, why not? Let's take a shot. And it ended up being a really cool experience. I went back to school, graduated, went home for a little bit, but it was always in the back of my mind trying to figure out a way to get back into here. So I talked to, like I said, Mark Adamski again, and got an opportunity to come back and work in this industry full time, and have been here ever since. And about probably 2 years after that, I joined the board of directors for CDCA, and have been on it ever since. So the value of CDCA to me is, at the end of the day, what we're doing, whether it's the person, checking some of the monetary things, the contracts, to deploying people, to building all this stuff, is we're trying to make the jobs easier for the warfighter, and in turn make the world a better place. That's the big pie in the sky type thing, and the CDCA is a big part of that. Let's try to make doing that job as easy as possible for the command and for companies around here. How can we make contracting easier? How can we make the job of the government easier to get contracts to us so that we can in turn help the warfighter? And those are big things that the CDCA is trying to do, whether it's doing PR to try to promote some of the skill sets that are in this area, whether it's working directly hand in hand with the customer to make contracting easier, helping them understand our points of view on how things can be changed different to help, and how things on their end can be changed different to help from us. So CDCA is at the forefront of doing all of that, helping out small businesses, large businesses, and everybody in between try to figure out how to make doing work for the warfighter easier in the long run.
Things you tell them.
I think some of the best ways to get involved with the CDCA would be reaching out to some of those board of directors, or some of the folks in the PR group, or some of the folks on the CIC, and see where the pressing needs are at the time. If the summit's coming up, we always need volunteers for the CDCA conference, CDCA summit, to help man booze, coordinate actions, things like that. Whether it's providing really great ideas for the CIC to take to the command and learn how to do contracting better, or specific questions and areas of concern, that's a great area to help out. Membership always needs help out, trying to figure out the best way to provide the most value to our members. What can we do to help our membership out and help everybody as a whole? The SBIY that we're at right now always needs volunteers to help out in that area. Also needs strategic volunteers and people, not just volunteering their time, but also their thoughts and things to help us make any event better. So there's a ton of ways to get involved. Reach out to the CDCA board, reach out to some of the other folks I talked about, and just find out where those pressing needs are, because they're always around, they're always changing, they're always very important. So when I first started at CDCA, when I first got elected to the board, I took over the education committee. That was my kind of first charge as a previous intern. It was kind of important to me to get involved in education, and so in order to really promote the importance of education, STEM, internship opportunities in this area, that was a big goal of mine to start out with the group. So STEM is uber important, because if we don't have enough people in STEM, and if we're not developing that next crop of people and developing a passion for this industry with that group, then one, we're going to lose them to the Silicon Valleys of the world that are maybe more flashy and pay more, but the bottom line is maybe this industry would make them feel better, or give them something that industry couldn't, but they don't know about it. So that's kind of the education piece of that, and making people smart on how STEM integrates in here. But STEM itself is important. I mean, you look at all the charts and stuff, and our math and science scores aren't all they're cracked up to be according to the world rankings and things like that. And I'll say selfishly, for those individuals that get into STEM, and there's some really great job security in that. that because it's always going to be needed, and the world is ever changing, and that those kind of engineering, science, technology, computers is always evolving, and we need those folks. And the internship program is a way to bring those folks and educate those folks so that they come back to our industry and stay doing the great work for us that we need to do. Overall, with the CDCA, our biggest push moving forward is how can we help make everybody's lives easier to do great work for the warfighter? That's the end goal. Is make sure that we're providing what we can to the warfighter, making the world a better place, and how can we make that as seamless and simple as possible? And that's what the CDCA is trying to do, whether it's through educating STEM people, getting interns, working with the CIC, doing events like this, the summit, whatever it is bringing those people together to collaborate, provide those ideas, and make life easier for everyone. So, not sure if that's above and beyond what we've already discussed, but that's kind of the point that I think CDCA is trying to get across now, is we're here to help the warfighter.